Hi Veronica, things look good here. I'm going to concentrate mostly on assignment 3, which looks pretty good. Thank you for getting the color wheels in there. Um, let's see. Well, first we can talk about colors, and I checked yours. They do look okay, excepting the tetrad, which really should have colors equally far from each other. And I think we can forgive you a little bit here because we've got some blues and some greens on the digital color wheel that are kind of similar. So if you were going to draw a square in the center to point to your colors, well, that's it. It should be a square and not a rectangle. Let's see. In terms of your design, I'm interested in that sort of aura that we see behind the object. It almost seems like jewelry or a watch that you've created here. But the aura that we see in the monochromatic version, also I think in both complementary and tetrad, we have colors in the corners that look a lot like the background color, which might not work as successfully as the other possibilities. Hi Flo, looking primarily at assignment 3 here, and I know you've been working very hard. It's nice that you were able to change the stroke color. The color sets here look okay. I'd know better exactly what you were after if you had included the color wheel with the arrows. The one problem we seem to have here is split complements. I believe that the yellow, orange, and green are a little far from each other to be split complements with blue, particularly if you were using the 24-step color wheel, which everybody was meant to use. All right. Hi Juanita, this is a nice design for you, by the way. Looking here at the one you've chosen for assignment 3, I am missing your color wheels with arrows. However, things look pretty good. And one of the pleasant surprises is your triad. You have a sort of pale tone of red, blue, and green, and we get a surprising array of colors. One thing I'm noticing about this file is that there is a curl at top left that goes outside the bounds of the black background. I want you to think about whether you want that or not. If you do, maybe do it again somewhere else. Hi Donamar, glad to see that you got the arrows in your color wheels. This can only help everybody to understand what you're after, and hopefully it's all more clear to you too. I'm liking the tetrad a great deal. I like the surprise of that a shade of blue, that vertical rectangle there in the top middle, and in the top left there is a shade of magenta too. I like those color surprises, and maybe you can do more with them. Also, there's a little scrap of color in the bottom right corner. Maybe omit that for your file, and also be welcome to make this more complex. Hi Teresa, I thank you for file assistance drafts. Looking at your assignment 3 primarily here, these are correct in terms of which to go with for your week 6 assignment 1. I kind of like the triad, or analogous could be good too. However, it might need some more light value shapes, perhaps even in the background. I'm missing the color wheel. Oh well. Your sets do look good. Well, hi Gloria, you've made some progress here. I'm looking at assignment 3. Monochromatic and analogous look good colors wise. Of course, it would help us to see those color wheels, but there are a few people with those missing. Let's see, I think you have switched the names on split complementary and complementary. Your left set there in the bottom is a good example of split complementary. But on the right, the colors that you've chosen resemble more the complements in a paint color wheel, the traditional color wheel. I think if you're using the digital color wheel, if you have blue-violet, its complement is going to be yellow-green. Just another quick note, Gloria, I think the value organization in analogous looks pretty interesting. Your design is looking very architectural. All of the shapes seem to build a three-dimensional space. That might be something to work with for assignment 1 in week 6. Well, hello, Amy. From what I can see here, your design is looking very lovely. I wish these images were just a little bigger so that I could get a load of you know, how they look with the resolution and all, but I think you're okay. Maybe corners need to be made to match a little better. I'm looking at the monochromatic one, and I'm thinking a little jostling around could help the, you know, the final project version in week 6, assignment 1. Use the grid, for instance, to make sure that everything is placed symmetrically. It looks like you're after a symmetrical look, so go all the way. So let's see, monochromatic is okay, and analogous too. I think the triad's going to be all right. The one that I'm worried about is tetrad. When I see magenta and yellow in the tetrad, I know that those are 8 steps apart. And for a tetrad, you need your colors to be exactly 6 steps apart if you're referring to the 24-step color wheel. Sorry you didn't get those arrows in there. Hi, Chuck. You know, wow, you did a lot more work on this since the draft phase. Glad you were able to organize everything, get the arrows in the color wheels, and so on. Your colors check out to be okay. Now, in terms of a design for the final, you know, at this stage, I'm kind of liking the two on the top. I like that we have moonlight, and there's something nice in the simplicity of the complementary one. With triad, it seems as though the rays from the sun in the sky are too much the same color as the sun here when I view in Photoshop. And maybe in split complements, the rays of the sun are a bit overwhelming. I like the way that the bird shapes resemble the cloud shapes and shapes we see in the water. That's a nice surprise. Of course, it looks like maybe the boat is anchored. At first I thought there was a fish line out. The seems to be roiling. It doesn't seem calm at all. So the matter from here is to make things more complex to your liking for the final. By the way, that's an image by Chagall that Chuck posted in, and he talked about how Chagall's works made him feel colors. Hi, Christine. I pulled out your first version for assignment 3 to compare, and I noticed that you made a couple of changes. I think with the tetrad, we're still seeing a lot of cyan in there. You'll notice that there are some cyan drops in the background is cyan as well. I noticed you removed some reds from the split complementary. This is part of the way it all works for us to be able to identify one harmony. Specifically, the colors need to be quite limited in most cases. Maybe analogous is an exception there. So I'm interested in the idea of this kind of pattern being applied to things like glassware or cloth, possibly wallpaper. Nice idea, and I look forward to seeing where you'll take this for the final project in week 6.